When a spirit world was discovered to coexist with ours, most people thought of it as a kind of miracle. And at first, all of the spirits were left alone. They were not, in other words, met with scheming by corporate interests determined to exploit them. Not at first, anyway. All of the ghosts were recently departed, and all were shocked to find themselves in contact with the living. They were relatively anonymous and had all died in the region. The land where they were discovered belonged to a railway and lay outside a repair shop that had existed since before the First World War. Then came the crowds. They poured in from around the world, everyone watching the spirits as though they were animals at a zoo. Over time, the crowds at the railway began to dwindle and the original ghosts were forgotten. Eventually, the railroad company had no choice but to discontinue the visits and determine another course of action altogether. To cut expenses, a new CEO was brought in. He decided that the ghosts should go to work for the railway. The railway boss's plan was to create a special detail for the ghosts, segregated from the rest of the workforce so they could work in relative safety. But the result was that they were exploited by everyone, by management who paraded the ghost workers to the shareholders, by middle management who used them to do the jobs that the living workers refused to do, and by the workers who scapegoated them. The ghosts were forced into vain attempts at winning back their freedom or to forget their station, and they began to squabble among themselves. This left the ghosts, who after all only ever wanted to be left alone, with only one recourse: to form a union. Without much experience organizing, they decided on 2 representatives to act as envoys with the living world. One of them was chosen because he had been injured on the job in a fight with one of the workers. The other had been a railway worker in life, and as a result, had gained the respect of the living workers. Their first step was to gain the support of a politician. "Ghost workers, eh?" said the politician. "It's becoming more common. You find ghost workers everywhere these days, not just the railway. No such thing as working you fellas to death, isn't that right? Anyway, it's simple. You need a collective bargaining agreement. At least 40% of ghost workers should agree. Then you can make an application to the labor board. Understand?" It was decided that the older worker would go west to find support among other workers. Meanwhile, the younger worker would stay and make a more local effort. New to the living world, it wasn't long before the younger spirit was distracted from his assignment. The older spirit, too, found himself lost in thought. He took to wandering the area where he had lived his life.
It's been some time since we last saw each other. We've probably all seen different things since then and met different kinds of people. Meaning that we're probably a bit different as well. A bit like strangers maybe. But even so, I always think back to our time and how when we needed a place to stay, it was here, like a miracle. For us at the time. It was here, and how we didn't question it at the time because we had somewhere to go that wasn't a terrible mess. And I know it's been many years, and I know I don't have that excuse anymore, and I'm sorry I had to leave. I needed to feel fresh air in my lungs again. But now that I know how it feels, I'm going to try and help other people feel that way too. So that the next time someone tries to take it away from someone else, they won't be able to. Because the person they're trying to take it away from will know how it feels. I'm going to fight against them, like you taught me to fight, or like I saw you fight. And I'll never stop fighting now. And I want to thank you for showing me that, and for other things. I know you're not here, but just the same, I thought, since I was in the area, I would at least come and see this place again.
Reproduction among garter snakes occurs in the spring, from early to mid-May, when snakes are coming out of hibernation, and is particularly active on sunny days. Garter snakes produce a pheromone that attracts potential mates in droves, sometimes leading to intense competition and the formation of mating balls of up to 25 snakes. Female garter snakes are able to store the male sperm for years before fertilization. Gestation lasts 2 to 3 months, and the young are independent upon birth. As few as 3 or as many as 80 snakes are born in a single litter. On record, the greatest number of garter snakes reported to be born in a single litter is 98.
The wildcat, an inspiration to strikers everywhere, summoned the spirits back to work. The politician congratulated the two spirits. "The union is certified," he said. "And so, will you strike?"